and thanks for joining us. I'm Meredith HACKLER. Today we're taking a closer look at creating a more accessible world for people with disabilities. As baby boomers continue to age and become less mobile, the need for greater accessibility is growing. Many cities are working on it, including Brooklyn Park. Brenda BOUS has been in a wheelchair almost her entire life. She's been navigating the sidewalks in the Northwest Metro for decades and says the majority of them have issues.
They're awful bumpy. The cutouts are not grounded down right. The stop and go lights, the red, green, yellow. The push and go light, that needs to be in a reachable, friendly spot. And the sidewalks just need to be evened out.
The Americans with Disabilities Act was established in 1990. Cities had until 1992 to comply before it would start being enforced. However, advocates for the law say compliance isn't something that typically happens.
There's nobody out there actually checking, no administrative body checking to see if cities have their ADA transition plans in place.
The Minnesota Council on Disabilities works to serve people with disabilities. The organization educates businesses and cities on what the laws are and shares resources and tools with them on how they can be more accommodating.
I know there's some drive to do this now, given some potential funding not happening if you don't have a transition plan, which, you know, it's unfortunate that that's what it took to motivate cities 28 years after the fact, but I'll take it.
The funding that the cities are at risk of losing comes from federal transportation funds and is distributed by the state. Cities like Brooklyn Park and Brooklyn Center put plans in place so they won't lose out on the money, which is used for road projects, trails, and bridge repairs.
Priority areas for us would include hospitals, schools, government buildings, that type of things. Anything where there's going to be a lot of foot traffic or public meeting spaces.
Wait.
Another focus of the plan is street crossings and sidewalks. Now, this street crossing is considered ADA compliant because it tells you when you're able to cross the street. However, this one is not compliant because the button only beeps. It doesn't tell you out loud how long you have to cross the intersection. Now, updating areas like this all across the city is going to take a long time.
The hope is that it's less than 30 years, obviously, but it's a large city. We have, when we did the original data collection, there was just under 2,000 ramps in the city, so $3,500, $4,000 per ramp. It's a large fiscal undertaking to do a project of that nature, so spread it out over 30 years is what we're shooting for.
The timing frustrates people with disabilities who just want a safe way to get from point A to point B.
When you get on one end of the sidewalk, doesn't mean that when you get to the other end, it's going to be the same cutoff. You might have to go back and unfortunately go in the street.
But advocates say these changes are beneficial to everyone.
So these are things that end up really just benefiting everybody in society, and I think that's a more important message.
While several cities in the Northwest Metro are making efforts to become more ADA compliant, one local organization has been a trailblazer on providing services and opportunities for people with disabilities. The Courage Kenny Rehabilitation Institute has been serving the metro area since the early 1940s.
It gives you renewed hope, I would say. We're always making advancements in medicine, and this is one way that I can keep my body ready for whatever comes next.
Patients like Paula Davidovich are a prime example of how Courage Kenny is improving people's lives.
I've been paralyzed for a couple of years now, and just mentally it feels amazing to get that sensation of walking again. I can sort of fool myself into believing that I'm walking, and that's one way to rebuild the neural pathways. So, you know, it's valuable physically and just makes me feel good.
Physical therapy is just one of many services Courage Kenny offers.
When you're like speaking very fast.
They also offer life skills classes that aren't readily available anywhere else.
You could say, spell that.
This patient is learning eye control technology.
Delete name.
Which could potentially help them land a job in the future. It's just one of many things unique about Courage Kenny.
I think one of the strengths of a place like this is not necessarily to normalize
serious disability, but to help arm individuals with disabilities with how to be advocates for themselves. It's connecting them with the resources that they may need. It's connecting them with the language. It's connecting them with their voice.
Patients also connect with others who may just be learning to live with a disability.
We have individuals that are early on in their journey, and they're exposed to, they network, they build that sense of community with individuals that are far along in their journey. And it's kind of those unofficial mentorships, those unofficial friendships. It's just the ability to look across the space and see someone who is coming in and very successful, and so it really does build that sense of community as people are recovering.
But most of all, the organization is helping people live more independently. Another way the Northwest Metro promotes inclusiveness is through Adapted Sports. A Brooklyn Center nonprofit called We Love to Play makes sure that adults with disabilities have the opportunity to play recreational sports after high school.
Now, we have people that come in with just, long-term knee injuries to those with severe cerebral palsy.
Players say We Love to Play gives them an opportunity to get exercise and socialize, as well as one parent who described the experience for her son as a gift. That's all for now. Thanks for sharing a part of your day with us. We hope you gained a little more understanding on how local cities and organizations are creating a more accessible world.
The Women's World Cup tournament is being played in France right now and wraps up next weekend. As Jason Melillo found out when he visited a local youth soccer club, there's a lot of interest in the tournament.
The Kickers Football Club fields 14 teams with about 160 kids ranging in age from 9 to 18. Under the watchful eye of experienced coaches, players start out learning the basics of the game, which hopefully starts a progression of their skills and a love of the sport.
I like the competitive part about it, and I also like the teammates, how they can cheer you on and help you get better and better and progress.
When they're not on the field this summer, some of the kids here are busy watching the action in France, where the U.S. women's national team is a favorite to win its 4th World Cup.
I really like how they can move so fast around the field, how far they can kick the ball, and it's really fun to see, oh, I could probably try to do that during a game.
Watching the best soccer players from around the world is fun and exciting, but the games can also be a learning experience for young players.
We don't want them just to sit there and cheer when the US scores a goal. We want them to watch even the other team, and even watching for mistakes so that they know what not to do. That's an important part of soccer as well. I'm encouraged by not just our team, but other girls. They're watching it, they're paying attention. Not just watching it for the spectacle.
I've seen their aggressiveness, and I've kind of put it towards my game. I get fouled sometimes, and it makes me really upset. And as I watch them get a foul and not get upset and just brush it off, it's really helped me.
The success of the U.S. women's national team and the players' fight for equal pay is inspiring. And hopefully it will teach young girls to fight for their goals, whether that's on the pitch or in life. Jason Melillo, CCX Sports.
The World Cup semifinals are Tuesday and Wednesday. Players interested in trying out for the Kickers Club can go to their website at kickersfc.com. Over 300 teams and 8,300 students compete in high school trap shooting in Minnesota. Shooters from the northwest suburbs recently took aim at titles. It's a great way to wrap up the season for local shooters fortunate enough to qualify for the State Clay Target Tournament. It's a smaller event than the league championships that preceded in Alexandria.
Well, Alexandria is a ton of fun. They got a lot of vendors up there, but this is the MSHSL sponsored event, and you got teams from all the classes. Instead of shooting 8 or 9 different days, it's all everyone one day, and you're competing against the best in the state instead of just the best in your school size category.
WAYZATA, Champlin Park, and Hopkins are the local teams that qualified. Hopkins and WAYZATA cracked the top 5 in team competition. It's been a good season for all of the qualifiers from the area.
The team shot really well. I think we did great. I mean, we made it here, so that was fun.
This is my first season on the team, but I've improved a lot this season, so I'm feeling really good, and I've seen a lot of the other kids on the team improve as well, so it's been a great season.
It's awesome. We won ski yesterday. Really excited about that. I won individually, and our team won. It's really nice this year. We've had a ton of people that have been pretty dedicated, at least the most of any year. They've been willing to come out and practice with me, and that's really made a difference. You can see it with their scores.
The shooters we talked to say watching others can be helpful, but keeping focused on the task at hand is the biggest key to success.
Kind of watch each other. If we see something really wrong, then we'll tell each other about it, but other than that, we don't really coach each other. We let our coaches do that. We're pretty confident in them that they'll do their job.
Yeah, we don't watch the other teams a whole lot, but seeing them shoot good really makes me want to shoot better, so it's a little bit of pressure, I guess, but it helps.
It's a sport that's very popular in schools across Minnesota and even in the northwest suburbs. In addition to the top 5 team showings by Hopkins and WAYZATA, Max Bunning of WAYZATA tied for 21st place, and Joey Jones of Heritage Christian Academy tied for 29th individually. That's it for sports.